taking the lead, analyzing the game from the rink to the field. From the ice to the turf, we'll break it down, discussing every win, every loss in town. We'll talk about the Canucks and the Lions. We are your irrational fans. We are your irrational fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, the old man, Kevin Hughes. Without Jake. Jake is taking a sabbatical. I think Game 7 hit him too hard, so he had to go to Europe. Actually, that's not true. He was actually in Europe to watch Game 7. He had planned this trip to Europe, about 8 months ago. Not thinking the Canucks would go as deep as we did. So he is off. I have a special guest today. This guy, I referred to him as the super fan. If you looked at our thumbnail as we were coming in, you would see him dressed in his gear. He went down to Game 5 dressed like that. I have seen this young guy. I've seen him since he was knee-high to a grasshopper. He's my nephew. I've known him since he was probably, I don't know, I'm going to say 4. I have to ask him, 4 or 5, I guess. And talk about a diehard Canuck fan, Reid Jackson. I'm just going to bring him in. He is the ultimate super fan. Reid, how are you, my friend?
Oh, doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. I appreciate you jumping on because nobody wanted to sit for an hour and listen to the old man ramble about nothing. I would just sit here and I would just ramble about how damn devastated I am about this loss. And I'm really glad that I had 2 days to compose myself. I'll use the word compose myself and really look back and go, you know what? Yeah, we lost, but take it from there. We lost. It sucked.
We did. We lost. We lost to a good Oilers team, and we took it to the final minutes of Game 7. If you look at the beginning of this year, I'm very optimistic. So I thought, okay, the Canucks have a good chance. They could sneak in if things go right. Nobody else had them making the playoffs. No one had them winning the division. That's for sure. And they stood up well and then they gave us a good run.
Now we say Game 7 they fell short. Can we say something went wrong?
Yeah, I think you can say things went wrong. That's the game. Nothing goes right all the time. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be a game. 50 wins this year, and then they come in and second round. I'll be 40 in June, and this is the third farthest the Canucks have made it in my life. So that's pretty impressive.
Yes, and like you say, for a team that nobody predicted they would be as good. And I watched pretty much every single game. I probably count on one hand how many games I didn't watch. And all through the season, we heard, oh, the Canucks aren't as good as the record. Oh, the Canucks are going the wheels are going to fall off. Wait till Christmas. The wheels are going to fall off after the Christmas break. Well, guess what? It didn't. Oh, the All-Star game. Oh, guess what? It really didn't. Even though it looked like it did because we were on such a tear.
Our weakest part was just those first few games after the All-Star break. But still, I don't think they went 3 games in a row without a win. So it was consistent year.
It was very consistent. And again, it sucks. We're out. Will I cheer for Edmonton? I just can't bring myself to cheer for Edmonton. And I think it's the 20 years I've lived in Calgary that it's just been like that. I hate Edmonton. Yeah. So, and it has nothing to do. People keep talking about this rivalry that's been born between Vancouver and Edmonton. Do you see that?
I don't feel it yet. I feel there's, during the series, it was, heated in town a little bit in Jasper here, but, at the end of it, everybody agrees. Great series. Like, I don't hear hatred towards the Canucks even after Susie and McDavid there. It stayed pretty calm. I think it's going to take a few years of meeting there. Kind of like Chicago, Vancouver, how that rivalry takes a bit of time to get it going. Edmonton's a team that I really haven't had any issues with growing up. I was too young for all their cup runs, and we played Calgary 7 times, and
Yes.
in the playoffs. So there's my rivalry that sticks with me. But I'd love to see it. I'd love to see a few years of this, battle and what a series, honestly. First time
Well,
in NHL history, you've had 6 1-goal games in a Canadian series.
it's insane. And I mean, we had the absolute privilege, we being Jake and I, of going to game 1. You got to go to the game 5, and you were down in Vancouver in person. You live in Jasper. I didn't tell
Yes.
everybody that, but you reside in Jasper. You have the only appliance repair company in Jasper. Is that not right?
This is true, yes.
If
That
you're in the Jasper area, if you need your appliance repaired, Reid is the only guy you got, and he's very good at what he does.
well, thank you.
Had to put that plug in there for
Plug
you,
in,
buddy.
yeah, shameless plug.
Shameless plug, and it's really funny because I sell RVs for a living, and I was talking to a guy, and I found out he used to live in Jasper, and just jokingly I went, "Oh, you probably know my nephew," and he says, "What's your nephew's name?" And I'm like, "Reid," and he goes, "Not Reid Jackson, the appliance repair guy." I was like, "Yeah, that's him."
Yeah.
So you have a reputation, buddy.
Yeah, I'm known in town, that's for sure. Yeah.
There you go. So, okay, enough about your appliance repair. Game
Yes.
5. Tell us your impressions. Tell us how it went for you.
Well, coming off of the loss in Edmonton, where they come back again like they just did every time they were down. You couldn't count them out. What was it, 39 seconds left, and Bouchard passes to Cole, and Cole puts it in the net, I believe. I can't remember if that was the goal, but it felt like that a lot.
It happens. It
Yeah,
happens so many games. It's like, which game
yeah.
was that?
Poor Cole, though. Honestly, he's battling, and you're just in the spot, and it goes off you. What do you do?
Yes.
And Bouchard, great series. But so we have that, the hype, the last few minutes of that game, feeling okay, we're doing it again. We're coming back. We're going overtime, and boom, game over. Then you go to game 5. So listen to about 9 hours of podcasts and everything Canucks, all the way down. It was
Nice.
a beautiful day in Vancouver. So I went down about 2:30, went to the Shark Club, and had some beers before the game, calm the nerves a bit. But as soon
Nice.
as you get to the downtown, just the noise, the fans, it was amazing. Just everything outside. And
So
then,
you took in the bands and everything
oh,
on the outside?
yeah, and it was cool. It was getting a good vibe. We were really excited, and then you get in the building, and we were
Oh,
in there at least a half hour early. We wanted to see warm up, and right as soon as you get into the concourse there, you hear "Let's go, Petey" chants, and just the hairs on my neck were standing up. Not the
that's
green
cool.
ones that were on top of my head, but real. It
If
was
people could
amazing.
see that picture, go back and look at the picture. You could see how he's
Yeah, I
dressed.
had a helmet and cape, and I was enjoying the moment for sure. But yeah, it's a feeling I can't even describe to you until you experience something like that. My first playoff game that I've ever been to many games, but never a feeling like that. It was special. Um, the anthem,
Oh,
I know that you and Jake touched on the anthem there before, and I had really good seats. We were row 21, right behind the Oilers bench on the blue line. So during the anthem, we were passing the Canadian flag along. Um, Part of it you're under the flag, part of it you're above the flag. That was cool. Uh,
I probably would have cried. I mean, and
yeah,
the feeling, you say it's an experience, and it really is. It's that that electricity in a building, like, you just can't explain it
Yeah,
because I've been to many different I've been to Grey Cups, I've been to many football games, many hockey games. There was nothing like that game 1 or like you say, the game
yeah,
5. Just the noise. You could
yeah.
feel the noise.
Oh, absolutely. And going into that game too, the Canucks were still struggling with the power play. Edmonton, hats off to them. They found a way to score. Didn't matter what they did or what teams did to defend it. You look at what I believe LA had the best penalty kill in the league this year, and they got torched for 49% or whatever it was going into the Canucks series. And what do they do in the first 2 games? They're scoring every time, and every game it was first 5 minutes there's a penalty. So game 5, you know, Canucks are down again early power play. And
Yes.
so just, well, actually Kane scored um prior to that first penalty. So it was already 1-0. And
That's
then
right,
then
yes.
we hit the box. So right away you're getting that sinking feeling. And a stat I had talked to my friend about that I went with before the game that I noticed in the first 4 games, the team that won the opening draw won the game. So the Oilers won the draw. So right
Oh,
away,
no.
I had that sinking feeling like, here we go, right? Um, and what did the Canucks do? They found a way to shut down the power play, and
Yes.
that was impressive, and it went right through. From that, I think they shut down all 5 power plays in game
Yep.
5. I don't think they were scored on the power play in game 6, and then
And, I
they
mean, not only did they
all
shut the
3 in
power
game
play down,
7.
they only allowed 3 shots on the power that all
Yes,
5 power
right, that's
plays,
correct, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Impressive.
yeah, and then, doesn't look good again out of the gate, and then second period, Susie, coming off suspension, gets the goal that, again, bit of a weaker goal. Just think Pickard had eyes on that puck. It wasn't a blast, and it found a way in. So right there, eyes wide open. Okay, let's find ways to get pucks to the net because pucks to the net, shaky
Shoot
goalie,
the puck.
score some goals maybe. But they found a
It
way, and then come all the way back. Right at well, actually, right after they scored, I believe it was Janmark. Maybe 30 seconds later, came down and tap in goal to go back to 2-1. So
Oh, right, yes.
building quieted right down real quick. Um, and then at the end of the second, there, Bouchard giveaway and a little behind the back spinorama there from um, oh, daddy there. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
Me
Di
too.
Giuseppe. Di
Yes, yes,
Giuseppe.
the baby bump.
Yeah, so he scores. Exactly. Miller brought that up after the game. And then what do you have? 33 seconds left or somewhere in that range. And basically that's where the fog hit for me because this oh
It's just so loud and the
yeah,
excitement, you're literally floating. It's the only
yeah,
way you can
really like
describe it, right?
oh yeah, my voice just today has come back to you know, you can
Nice.
hear my voice. But yeah, that was the building just exploded and yeah, one experience I'll never forget, that's for sure.
That's cool. It's funny. We have somebody in the chat. They say his name's Jeff. I've never seen the guy come post on our show, but he says I've never seen a fan base troll the way Canuck fans did during the series. They were in the chats on Edmonton Sport Talks. They were chatting Chet up after every game. So I came here to troll, but I like
Yeah,
you guys too much.
that's fair. You're gonna have people that just go out to troll, and it happens.
Bring it.
No matter what fan base, there's a lot of Canucks Twitter. So unfortunately, with that many people on Twitter, there's a lot of trolls. But you know,
Well,
Canucks fans are passionate. Some of them are, over the
we
top.
don't.
I'm over the top in one way. I don't like to troll because I know things can quickly change. as it did in this series.
And
So
I want to express the fact that when he says he goes over the top in other ways,
yeah.
this is a guy who literally has gone viral on on social media at a hockey game. Am I not? Am
Oh,
I right?
yes, it's happened.
You
Yeah,
belly slapping fool.
I did. I pulled the belly out and played it like a drum in the Oilers arena back.
How
Well,
long ago was that?
years, quite a few years, 5, 6 years, probably at least
And
now.
all you have to
I,
do, if you want to see that video, just Google belly slapping Canuck fan and
yes.
it'll come up.
Oh, yes.
I should have had it set up so I could put it.
Oh, I get messages at 11 o'clock at night a few times a year asking me
Oh,
where.
do you really?
Oh yeah,
That's
people will message
hilarious.
me. Hey, how do I find that again?
That's funny. Moving on. Great playoffs. I mean, we
Yeah,
can't say it enough. It was somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody said, it was yesterday I heard it, that it made them love the Vancouver Canucks again.
yeah, 100%. Right? What has it been? We had the bubble playoffs, which
Yeah,
in the moment I loved it. Yeah. It
of
was
course.
great to feel it. It was weird. You didn't really
It
have
was
anybody to share it with. It was in August.
it was
I mean,
just
I didn't
weird.
watch every game, minute of it, but it's just the same. There's no travel. You look at
Yeah.
round one, we're playing Nashville. How much travel's there, right? And everything was in Edmonton. You just showed up to the rink, no fans, and basically it felt like a practice, an exhibition game. But
That's what it looked like. And that's
yeah,
what it felt like.
yeah,
Yeah. No, this definitely, I mean, this whole season has brought me back. I mean, in seasons past, if Jake and I hadn't been doing the podcast, I probably wouldn't watch as many games as I did. Um, this year, I wanted to watch the games. I was like looking forward to each and every game
yeah.
because they played hard and they were a fun team to watch.
They were. You came out of the gate, and I believe going into the All-Star break, or at least into Christmas, they were the top scoring team in the league. They were winning a lot of
Yes.
games with 5+ goals. Um, and you look at our coaching staff. They were playing those games, but they recognized early that they're not going to win that way when it came down to it in the playoffs, and they
Yeah.
really started to adjust. So I think that after the All-Star break, that's really where you saw that little bit of a lull, is they were really hammering down on as talk had brought up a lot in these playoffs about he doesn't care about shot totals, because we don't need shots that are from bad angles that are just swallowed up or miss the net. And he had mentioned, if you're firing the puck wide high, well, McDavid's going to scoop when he's gone, right? You can't let
Yeah.
Edmonton have those rush chances. So the shot totals way down towards the end of the year, but they were learning how to win those closer games. And
Exactly.
I think it paid off a lot for how far they did end up making it, and really pushed Edmonton at the end.
Now, I had asked you prior to we came on, and I'm going to ask you again. Just the playoffs. Let's just pick the playoffs. We'll go back to the regular season. But if you had to pick one player to be the MVP to give that Golden Cup to, can you?
I can't. There's a lot of candidates,
Yeah.
and you look at clutch. You have Brock Besser. The guy just, we thought he had 2 hat tricks in the playoffs, but
Yes.
he
People lost their hat over that.
yes, absolutely. But he was scoring goals, and you start in that Nashville series where I'm hanging my head at the end of that game, thinking like, come on, we got nothing. And Besser just took it over, and he made his shots count. So you look at
Yes.
him, you look at JT Miller, the heart, the guy wears his heart on his sleeve. Years ago we've said, oh, this guy, he's no good for the team, his attitude,
Need to
all this.
trade him.
It showed through his leadership, his heart, what he would do to win.
Yeah.
He tied Besser with 12 points in the 13 games he played there, but he was great. Then you look at what 23-year-old Artur Shiloff does coming out of, he split most of the year with Tolopilo in the HL with not the greatest numbers. It wasn't his best year.
No, not at
Came
all.
up, and those few games at the end of the year, he kind of showed, his calmness and his ability to stay square to the puck. But he comes in, and you think, okay, I remember talking to you and Jake before sending you when A, Demko's out, and then B, there goes DeSmith.
We're
And
screwed.
what are we doing? And here comes
Pull up
Sheloff.
Eddie Lack.
And yeah, Eddie Lack was calling the Canucks saying, come on. But Sheloff goes in there and just calm,
Yes.
and he finished the playoffs with a save percentage under 900. It was 898, but the saves he made at the times he made them, he made great saves, and saves where the team jumps on his back and says, hey, let's go, got one back for Artie here. So he's in the conversation, and
Has to be.
then you got two guys that we pick up at the trade deadline. Elias Lindholm, he had 10 points, but what he did for the Canucks in the areas of, where he doesn't have the puck or just on the draw, penalty kill, little
Yes.
pick plays, he was a stud. He's a
Yeah.
guy, I know we'll get into it later, but he's a guy you look at and, can you let him walk away? And the other guy that I think is right in there is Zadorov. Zadorov, he had, I think, 5 goals in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. And the big hits, the
That
timely hits.
his two goals where he came streaking down
Yes.
down the side, unbelievable. I was
Yes.
like, where did that shot come
Both of
from?
those goals that he scored, one against Saros and the other against Skinner,
Yes.
you heard on ESPN, you heard on, or sorry, TNT, you heard on CBC or Sportsnet there, everybody bringing up the reverse VH and goaltending where you're playing that a little too early, and
Yeah.
it brought up a lot of stuff because he found that corner and he picked it. It was unbelievable. He
It was
actually
beautiful.
had 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points in 13 games.
So
And
no, you picked 5 guys.
yeah, who's the MVP?
Like, and if you picked any of those 5, I'd be like, yeah, I could see why you would want one of those 5 to be there. And I don't disagree. And
I
you
didn't
could
even
put them
say
all up.
Quinn Hughes.
We haven't talked about Quinn. I mean, everybody's
Still had
like, well,
10
Quinn
points
didn't
as a
score.
defenseman, right? He didn't score a
Yeah.
goal, but he controls the play. He does a
Oh,
lot. He got hammered in the playoffs, but you're surprised he doesn't get hammered more. He's elusive. He drives play.
well, you can't hit him when
Stay
you can't
alive.
catch him,
Yeah. I mean,
right?
he 24-year-old defenseman, I think it'll be a shame if he doesn't win the Norris. I think he definitely deserves it this year.
If
But
he doesn't win the Norris, I think Jake is going to fly to Bettman's house
yeah,
and literally beat him.
yeah.
I'm terrified. Like, we're
I
probably
felt
going to have
that
to have
way when Luongo didn't win the Vezina too,
the.
years ago. I'll never let that go.
What is there? Do we have 4 players up for awards this year or 5?
4
4.
players. We have Hughes for the Norris. We have Pedersen for the Lady
Lady
Bing,
Bing.
and I think that's it.
No, we got goalie.
Oh, sorry, yes, and Demko for Vezina, as I just
Yes.
mentioned Luongo.
Yeah.
And then we also have
Talk it.
But one thing that they don't announce or nominees for is the Jim Gregory, and I think Alvin is right at the top of that list as well.
Oh, is he really?
Look what he did. Look what he
He's
did
done
with a
it for his
Canucks
job.
team that everyone said didn't have a sniff at making
Nothing.
the playoffs. And then the moves that he brought in at the deadline, were there better deadline moves around the league? Like there were, those were pretty
At
good
the
moves.
moment
Made them
of the
early, right?
deadline, I would say yes. But having now seen the full picture, I don't think there's a better move.
Yeah,
I really
I mean,
don't.
I remember you asking a question not too long ago if Zadorov was one of the best trades Canucks have ever made, right? He brought in something the Canucks needed, which was that nastiness. Because
Yes.
Tyler Myers, for a guy who his contract of 6 years by 6 million has been ridiculed from basically day 12 of the contract.
Yes.
He this year you bring in Adam Foote and Gonchar on the coaching staff, and what Foote's done with the gameplay of Myers is unbelievable. He's quieter. He,
I
you
don't
know,
There
he
was something that happened mid-season with Myers because the first half of the season, my dogs thought their name was fucking Myers. I swear to God, because every game it would be
yeah,
20 times a game, fucking Myers.
yeah.
But
And you
that
remember
last half of the season, something changed,
yeah, he did.
and I
He
was like,
calmed down.
"Good play, Myers."
Yeah, he really became one of the Canucks' best defensemen, and in the playoffs, he was amazing. He really
I don't
was.
want to argue that fact with you. I
Yeah,
really do because
but
he's a
can you?
chaos giraffe.
Yes. But you look at the way he is too. You look at Zadorov's size. He's also quite bulky. He's big.
Yes.
Myers, he's called a giraffe. His neck is, you know,
It's like that
longer than
long.
my head. But and he's lean, right? So at 6'8", everything that doesn't go flawless, it really looks funny. So he's gangly. If he makes a mistake, it shows. So
His shot
yes,
is the funniest shot. When he shoots the puck, I'm like,
yeah,
"What are you doing?"
yeah,
It
yeah,
just
but
looks weird.
exactly. It does. That's just his body type, really. But so
Exactly.
he's been hammered forever on that too, but he
Oh,
was
I'm
great as
sure.
well. Yeah.
But you're right. There was something that was done with his gameplay somewhere in mid-season that changed it all.
I look at the coaching staff, who's on the ice at practice, and tell me around the
Yeah.
league that guys, they don't soak up stuff. They do every time. Every time you're around, they pick a brain. Then you got in practice, you got Talkett running the show, you got Foot out there, Sergei Gonchar, Henrik
Just
Sedin, Daniel Sedin. Like, can we send them out for the power play? Right? Like maybe
they
they
could
get it
probably
done
still
for you.
score.
Oh, they could, right? On a power play. But
I got into this discussion at work today. You bring up the Sedins, and someone looked me in the eye. They looked me right in my blue eyes, and they said, "Well, the Canucks have never had like a superstar player." And I looked at him and I went, "How old are you?" And
yeah.
he's 33, and I'm like, "So you remember the Sedins, right?"
Yeah,
And he's like,
Pavel Bure, sorry.
I went, "The Sedins, they won the scoring championship a couple times."
Yeah, and
Um,
in the
you
peak
remember
of
that guy? His name was
Ovechkin and
Trevor Linden.
Crosby. Yes.
Oh yeah, but you didn't have someone like Jerome McGinley. Shut the front door! You're trying to tell me
Todd Bertuzzi.
I
Bertuzzi
could go
and
on and
Iginla
on.
was a battle. Those two were the best power forwards in the game for a few
Yeah,
years.
exactly. Just
Yeah,
you made me trigger that memory. I was like, what
yeah.
an idiot. If you're listening, you know who you are.
You're wrong. Sorry.
You're wrong. You're
Yes.
wrong.
We've had with Quinn Hughes, we've now had a superstar at every position because Luongo was his
Exactly.
absolute superstar as well. That man was something else. I know you've never felt that way, but
It was funny because
I'll go to the grave with
my
that one.
Facebook memories keep coming up, and
Yeah,
anytime I give Luongo a hard time, Reid would be in my
won't have it.
comments giving me shit.
Yeah, won't listen to it.
Too
You
funny.
don't blame a guy who has 2 shutouts in the Stanley Cup final when the team scores 8 goals in 7 games. It's not
See,
the
it doesn't
goalie's
take
fault.
much to get him going. He's
It
like Jake.
doesn't. It's not the goalie's fault when you have 8 goals in 7 games, 2
But
shutouts.
the difference between Reid and Jake is Reid has played hockey for 30 years. 5 of those years in the goalie position, so he sticks up for his goalie buddies.
Yeah. Well,
Now
they're the wall back there.
they are. Let's bring this one up. What happened with EP40 going into the playoffs? Is he
Well,
hurt?
I don't think he's hurt. Is he banged
We would
up?
have heard.
For
We
sure.
would
He's banged up,
hear
but
by now.
yeah, he's banged up. Everybody is. But I don't
course.
think he's hurt. I think potentially, as I had mentioned before, the way that the Canucks changed the play a little bit by trying to be less, I don't want to say less offensive, but a little bit tighter in
Less
how they play,
freestyling.
less freewheeling,
Yeah.
is where Pedersen was really good at. And the guy, he's slight framed, he's easy, easy for guys to point the finger at. He was not great in these playoffs. He was
No,
not
he
at all.
wasn't.
He had one goal, power play goal there, the only home power play goal, I think, of the playoffs for the Canucks.
Was it really?
Yep. Game 2,
That's
or no, what was it?
bizarre.
Yeah, game 2. Is it game 2 Edmonton? He had the
Yeah,
same
it
look in
was.
game 2 against Nashville there when he went to his knees, and you could really see his confidence was shook. And sometimes you can shake it, sometimes the pressure, it's there. But you look at game 7 and him playing with Miller again. He didn't score, but
But he made an impact.
he made an impact. Just ask Matthias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, because he laid them both out. He went to the net right after hitting Ekholm there in the first period in game 7, knocks Ekholm down, puck squirts out to the hash mark for Miller. Miller takes a quick shot. Pedersen's right back in front of the net, and Bouchard covered him really well. And Petey sometimes he gets the Bambi legs, unfortunately. He's on the ice a lot. He went for the
Yes.
rebound, stick was lifted, he hits the ice, he's back up, but his compete was there. And
Yeah.
I took a look at Pedersen's year again, and look at kind of some comparables of players in the Canucks history that this has happened to, where you come off, he had, I think, 91 points this year. Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
He had 89 points in 82 games, 6
Oh, okay.
points in 13 games in the playoffs. But if you look back, he was 25 years old, never really had the playoff experience before.
No.
You go back to 06, 07, Henrik Sedin, first year really being the guy in Vancouver. He finished with 81 points in 80 games. His brother finished with 84 points in 81 games. That first year, after being the guy, being a big point producing player, they went into the playoffs, and Henrik Sedin, 4 points in 12 games. Daniel Sedin, 5 points in 12 games. And the next 3 years they're in the playoffs, they both had 10 points in 10 games, and they both had 14 points in 12 games. And then in 2011, they had Henrik 22 points in 25 games and Daniel 20 and 25. So they showed with experience that they could bring it. Petey, he needs that confidence. He needed to fail to be able to work, because he's going to work this summer, and he's not going to forget,
it.
And also, he doesn't feel hate. He had the whole crowd, 18,000 people chanting, "Let's go, Petey." And you could see it. You could see
How
it
cool
meant
is that?
something, no kidding. You hear guys, Connor Garland, Elias Pettersson, JT Miller, talking about their names being chanted in the arena and what it means to them and their families. I think he struggled, yes. Did that become a factor for the Canucks moving on? Absolutely. But do I believe that he can't do it in the playoffs? No, I don't believe that. He had 18 points in 17 games in the bubble playoffs. He can score. you can score when it matters. He threw them on their backs for games there. So disappointing 100%. But, take it for what it is, move on, find a way to be better, and then do it.
Well, now they know, and you're right. You have to learn to lose before you can learn to win. And
Yeah.
they lost. They
And they
know that
know
feeling.
they were down to the one shot there. Miller hit
Yes.
blocked by Zadorov in the slot with 5-6 seconds left in the game. They know that they were right there.
They were that close. And it was funny
Yeah.
because I think one of the reporters asked, I want to say it was, I think it was Hughes, if this was going to stick with them for a while. And just the look of just anguish in his face. And he goes, buddy, I have junior games
That was Connor
that I
Garland.
lost. Was that Garland? That I still, this keeps
Yeah.
me awake at night. And it was funny. I saw that online and I saw somebody post, oh, you need to get help for that. And I was like, no, you don't. That's called passion.
It is.
That's called,
that's
what
gonna drive them.
That's what makes them the 1%
Yeah.
that make it to where they get to. It's what is
I
it?
got
1% of
1% to
1%?
share with you later.
What's that?
I said I got a 1% to share with you later.
Oh,
Little
so
foreshadowing.
now going forward, we have a huge off season, massive
Yes.
off season. I'm going to click this button over here and it's going to pull up a whole bunch of names. And it's going to show that we only have about $26 million in cap space.
Yes.
So let's go through the names. I'm going to read the names. You tell me whether you think we can sign them and for what.
Whew. Okay.
So these are, let's go with the restricted free agents first.
Okay. Yes.
So Hronek.
Okay.
Do we sign him?
I believe so. He struggled down the stretch too, and in the playoffs a bit. But again, first experience with it all.
Yep.
Great season, career high in points. But he has arbitration rights. He wants about $8 million, according to what I've heard from guys like Frank Saravelli, Daily Faceoff.
That's the number I heard as well.
I heard the Canucks kind of offers that they were last given to him were in the 6.5 to 7 million range. Quinn Hughes, 7.85 million. That's their cap. That's their internal cap.
Yeah.
If he wants $8 million, and what did we say? We have $25.7 million in cap space. If we're giving him $8 million, that's tough because we need more. We've got 3 defensemen signed right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot for him. Comparable. You look at in Seattle there, Vince Dunn.
Yep.
Where he's, I think, $7.35 million, but his career year was in the 60 points range, where Hronek, he only got to 48 and the 5 goals, where it looked like you look at his first half, first 3 quarters of the season, it looked like he was getting 50 for sure, and maybe into that 60. But again, he was a type of player like Pettersson that kind of slowed down towards the end of the year, and why we don't really know, but I do think that the way the Canucks learned to play to try to win did have an effect on that. Just he wasn't as freewheeling. You look a lot of times at the beginning of the year, he was the first guy in on the puck on the forecheck because they were doing that. They were sending the defenseman in, and they were having no problem. The winger F3 there goes back and covers for him, but I like him.
So what are you thinking?
If he signs for 7, if he's getting more than 5 million, he's getting 7 million, or he's not going to be with the Canucks.
Okay.
The qualifying offer, I believe, is in the 5.2 range. So the Canucks will give him that, and then he'll go to arbitration, and they'll either figure it out or they'll trade him. But you look at Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvine, they're not afraid to be bold.
No.
And they're going to look at the same list we're looking at right now and go, what do we do? Well, here's an option. You just traded for Philip Hronek before his career year. He had, what was it? We gave up a first round pick and a second round pick for him. So there's value there for him. You could probably recoup a first round pick for him. The fact his contract's going to be going up, I don't think you'd get much more than that. Or you might get, a second or something and a player that you can plug in.
And
So
places like Utah is going to be pulling up the freaking bank, the entire Brinks bus.
Yeah.
Right.
So could you see you never see it, but could you see an offer sheet on a guy like Hronek if they're in a stalemate? Possibly. But guys don't want, if you're looking at that 7-8 million, you might as well just trade the first round pick for him because you're paying a lot more in penalty for that, or compensation. Sorry. He's a guy. Yes, I do think he'll be back. I think they sign him. I think it's probably around 7 to 7.35, like done.
Okay.
7.5 would be the absolute max. I think the Canucks would be willing to do, but again,
how about Silovs?
So Silovs,
what do you do?
This is easy. He doesn't have arbitration rights. He's an RFA. No. He's been making $800,000. You give him $1 million. You give him a couple of years at $1 million, or they could get him for less than that. They really could. They could get him for $900,000. One way deal where they're saying we're not sending you down because you go to the minors and he's making, into the $80,000 range, right? So my numbers might be off there, but it's drastic. Yeah. It's a drastic drop.
We'll say $1 million just to keep it.
So you go $1 million easy, right? That's now you have $6 million combined between Demko and Silovs in the crease, and that's top half of the NHL in cap totals and quality for sure. So that's an easy sign. Yeah, that's a done deal, which we can then right now look at Casey DeSmith, who did an admirable job. But thanks for being here, and good luck moving forward.
And I'm going to jump right to Smith DeSmith because he is a UFA. Do we just
I think
his hand to say thanks?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you look at the playoffs here, and even down the stretch at the end of the year, the team felt more comfortable with Silovs in net. He's a bigger body. Yeah. He moves well and he's calm. Not that DeSmith didn't do a great job, but he also, he's prone to rebounds. He's got quick feet. He moves well, but you look at age, you look at size, undersized goalie, and his rebound control, and it's a pretty open shut case for me now what Silovs has done.
I agree. Now this one, they get a little bit harder.
They do.
So now let's just go in order. Blueger, what do you do with Blueger?
Blueger, to me, wait and see. He's a guy. Yes. I think I can't remember what he. I got it up here, but he was a great signing. But I think you have to wait and see. You look at, you could, depending on how the lineup goes, you got Pettersson, Miller. Do we have Lindholm back? You got Suter's signed it for another year. We have him on there. We've got guys in the minors that have played well, and they're going to get a look, like Atu Ratu, even though he played a lot on the wing this year. But there's guys there that can fill that role. So it is not, to me, July 1st or before, get it done, unless you're getting him at a very serviceable number. He was 1.4 million 1 year deal last year. So
is that what he was? 1.4,
which is good cost, right? But you really are in the point this year where we are crunching numbers, and every $500,000 is going to be important. So I'd like him.
Well, it is.
I like him. 29 years old. He was a great fit. So I think there's an avenue for sure for him to be back, but it's definitely not at the top of the list. Joshua, yes. If we can afford him, he comes in. So He, is another player that we got a great deal on. We signed him,
What did you
and
make last year?
so he's coming off a contract right now that he was making 700 and oh sorry 825,000. They signed him for a 2-year
Is that
deal.
all?
That was his AAV, yes. So you look at his play and you go, okay, well, double it for sure. Well, he's
Yeah.
outplayed that. You look at his comparables, he's outplayed that. He's
Yeah.
he hits everybody. He's smart, he's raw. He's a type of player that you could really see growth in next year, and I think
Solid fourth,
he's there.
third or
So
fourth liner for sure,
yeah,
right?
so I've heard from guys like Thomas Drance where the comparables that he's using, that he could be in, upwards on the open market to maybe to 4 million. I don't think the Canucks will go that high. I think you could see him at, they'll probably try to start at something like 2.5 or whatnot, but I could see them going up to 3.5 for him. Maybe on a deal kind of like Nick Paul in Tampa, where you give him a lower, or same with Tanev, Brandon Tanev that he signed, where it's a
Yes.
lower AAV, but for a long time.
Yeah.
And maybe
Lock him in.
you can win one like that. He's 28 years old. But he, for sure, the energy he brought, you could send him out any situation, and he did really well this year. So I think that he's
Exactly.
in the top 3 for them to bring back.
Nice. Lafferty.
Lafferty, again, serviceable, but he's going to be put right to the back of the lineup.
Yeah.
He's a
I
wait
think
and see.
he's behind Bluger even.
Oh yeah, I think he's at the bottom of the list, and nothing against him.
Yeah.
I think he was great for what he needed to be.
Yes.
I don't think he was, a top 12 forward all the time.
No.
But his contract, he's not going to be making a lot. He's going to be a guy that is going to be a hole plugged for the Canucks or for whoever signs him. But he's coming off of 1.15 million
Oh, okay.
that he signed with.
Probably not going to get a whole bunch more than that.
No, so the Blackhawks signed him to 2 years at that 1.15. So I think he will not be getting, a
No.
raise. He'll be he's in that window now where you see guys kind of get pushed, right? He's 29
Yes.
years old. He's in that mushy middle where guys are going to go, the money's going to go to the big guys, and then the young guys are getting their due. So he's kind of a thought of a plug a hole. And if he's still sitting there and he wants to be minimum salary type player, I'm sure they would love to have him back at that, but not
Now
much.
this one's going to be a tough one. Does Lindholm stay? Does he want to be a Canuck?
They're gonna do. I think he does. You look at the city. Look what he just played in front of, right?
Yes.
Look, he said to the Canucks fans, to everybody, I didn't play my best when I got here, but this is where it matters. This is where I am, what I am, and he proved it.
What a class player! I love the guy.
He absolutely, and he became the number 2 center on the Canucks. Pettersson was playing with, not great line mates for him to be successful, but how could you not have Lindholm with with Garland and Joshua? He was, you threw him on the ice and you knew you were getting a strong effort, and he was probably gonna win the shift.
So what do you think his number is?
So he was looking in the $7-8 million range. Going into,
I think he wanted $9 million in Calgary, and they weren't willing.
But he didn't want to be in Calgary, I don't think either. So
no, who wants to be in Calgary?
Well, it's a nice city, as you know.
It's not a nice hockey team. It's a toxic hockey team.
Yeah, but it could be changed, right? It's tough.
Yeah, get rid of the owner.
Yeah. But I think he loves Vancouver. I think Vancouver definitely loves him, and I think that starts at the management group. They brought him in.
So you're thinking in that 8.5?
If they can get him for, I think they could try to put $7 million at him, 7 to 7.5. Will they go 8? Maybe they will. You know, like I said when we were talking about who's the MVP for the Canucks, and he's in that conversation. It's
He's
not
in that
just the
5.
points. He's not just the points. It's the intangibles. It's what he does away from the puck, what he does in the faceoff circle, penalty kill. Like he is a smart player, and that's a guy that you want to have around. So I would do it. Will they? I mean, now if we say okay, we are taking Hronik in 7 plus and Lindholm 7 plus. Well, now we're down to 10 million. So
Well, we're sitting at 18, 19 million now, so
yeah,
and we still have Ian Cole to go.
yeah. So Ian Cole can go. Um,
Yeah.
he
Shake his hand, say thanks.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel for the guy. I was on him too. He works hard. He really did. He was unlucky, sick in the wrong place at the wrong time, body position
Yeah.
wrong, puck off him in. He was definitely a player that stuck out.
Like a
And
sore thumb.
yeah, he was. There's probably people in Edmonton right now with Oilers cold jerseys on. Um,
I love it.
Because he was
I mean, what
a
did
big
he
part
got
of
4
every
goals, I
play.
think.
Oh, man. Yeah, poor guy, but thanks for
Thanks.
coming.
Don't let the door
And,
hit you on the way out.
yeah, well, no, he's also 35 years old, right? So now
I
you
was
get
gonna say
into
he's
that
not a young
those
guy either.
35 and over contracts are, they're deals where if it doesn't work out, the team gets you're stung on them. So,
Oh, yeah,
um,
exactly. What
yeah,
about
so
Friedman?
Friedman, I think again is like I said with Lafferty and with Bluger, he's a guy I could see the Canucks bringing back at league minimum.
Yeah.
Just to be, he was serviceable. He didn't play many games for the Canucks, but he was a guy that could come in, play left side or right side, and fill in for a game or two when needed. So he's a perfect guy to have in your lineup that sits in the press box, because you don't want to have guys that are up and coming that need to play
Yes.
games. He's the type of guy that he can practice. He can come
And
on the
jump
ice
in.
and jump in. So he's 28 years old. So I think that
Yeah.
I could see him being signed, but that's not going to be an alarm bell signing where we're high-fiving everybody and excited he's
Yeah.
back. But I could see for sure him coming back. Yeah.
And we're gonna say $1 million just for round figures.
I'd say league minimum 850. Yeah. So
Which,
round numbers.
it's 850, $1 million. It's
But
only,
the
but it
thing is,
means a lot
too,
to the Canucks
you
this year.
yes, but you could sign him, right? But he might not be on. He's a guy you put on waivers too, so he's gone, right? So
Yeah.
his cap hit is under the 1.125 million, which is the amount of contract that can be buried. So if you have a contract that's 2 million and you send him to the minors, only 1.125 of that comes off the cap. The rest stays on the cap. So
Oh, really?
he's in that mushy mid, or he's underneath that number where if you sign him now and he's not on the team, or you want to make a move, he's gone, and then you have that money back. So
Yeah,
so
exactly.
be under that. Yeah.
Now these two, now it gets
Yes.
tough because now
Oh,
you've got Myers and Zadorov left to deal
yeah.
with.
So
And you only have 10, 19, call it 20. You only got 5.7 million.
so we just said, okay, what did we just say for keep? We got Hronik at 7, say 7. Let's just say that 7 for him.
7.
Then say 7.5 for Lindholm.
Yeah.
And these are rough guesses because they could definitely get a little more.
Yeah.
So
So
there's
there's 14.
14.5. Then we said we'd go up to maybe 3.5 on Joshua. So now
Yeah.
you're at 11, right? So, or sorry, my math just went out the window there.
No, yeah, you're at 14.
Yeah.
You're at what
Yeah,
were you going
yeah, I had
backwards to?
14.5, and then
So you got
so
14, you got
we're at 18
18.
million, right? So 18
Call it
million, you got
19 million with the 850 that we're gonna pay
yeah. So you
Friedman.
got less than 8 million left, right?
Yeah.
So Tyler Myers, his contract of 6x6 it started out as one of the worst. it's Louis Erickson again. What do we do? And now at 34 years old, Tyler Myers, I think, is going to be very high on the list for the Canucks to bring back. This is a guy that he wants to be here. I don't think he really wants to play anywhere else.
No.
Like I said, 34 years old. I could see the Canucks saying, "Hey, Tyler, we'll give you 3 years at 3.5 million to stay." And they'll tell him, like, where our cap situation is. We would love to have you. He's a right-handed shot. And right now we have Noah Juleson as a right-handed shot that's on our books. So other than
That's it.
Hronek, but you'd have Hronek. So he's number 2 behind Hronek.
Yeah.
So I think he's a for sure to come back. What that number is. Will it be 4 million? Will it be 2 years, 4 million? Because again, like we said, he's 34. So this first year of his contract is not a 35 and over contract. But if you sign him for longer, then those years do become that. And with the 35-year and over contract, I believe where I was talking about the 1.125 million that's variable, that's out the window. So I think if he's cut, his cap stays. So I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe that's where that 35 and over thing comes in. So yes, I think he's back for sure. So let's say maybe it's hopeful, but 3.5 million for him.
But then can you get Zadorov for 4 million?
Well, Nicky thinks he's a 6 by 6 guy from what I've heard, maybe. And because he is nasty, because he is big, and he's a great guy in the dressing room, as you heard many times from Talk at this postseason, talking about what he brings to the room. Sharp dresser and big hitter. I love it. I know I have some friends that are not so fond of him, but man, do I love him. But that's where you get into that. So say you give him 5 million. Do we have 5 million left from what I just talked about after Myers? I think you're right in that. Squeaking. So here's what we do. Okay. Ilya Mikheyev. This guy, I tell you,
you can't score a goal of his life dependent upon it.
For you. But wow. He's got 2 years left at $4.75 million. I pulled some stuff up on him today to look at his season. So yeah, 4.75 million, 2 years left. 11 games in the playoffs, 11 shots, 0 goals, 0 shooting percentage, empty net, beat the goalie, and the puck and his stick don't get along. That rolls right off. What a game. He worked hard, but he just can't score. His season this year, he played 78 games. He had 11 goals, believe it or not, 20 assists, 31 points, and 147 shots. So it was his career low 7.5 shooting percentage. But you look at what he did this year. He came out, he scored 6 goals in the first 11 games on 28 shots. That's 21.4 shooting percentage. Amazing. That's above league average by a long way.
Oh, yeah.
So then December 17th, 28 games in, he's got 10 goals, 56 shots. He's down 17.8 shooting percentage. That's great. That's a high shooting percentage. But then I don't know what happened. He sold his hands, whatever he did. But
sold his hands to the devil.
I don't know. 50 games remaining in the regular season. From that point on, he scored 1 goal on March 13th against the Avalanche. 91 shots in those 50 remaining games. 1 goal.
That's Are you serious?
Well, the 1% I was talking to you about. 0.01% shooting percentage at $4.75 million. 1 goal in 50 games. Add the playoffs, the 11 games he played in the playoffs, with the 11 shots he had in the playoffs, That's 1 goal in 61 games and 102 shots, 0.009% shooting percentage, 4.75 million. So the Canucks,
Buy them out.
if they choose to buy him out, so this is where we now can sign the guys that we talked about. It costs 6.2 million over 4 years to buy him out. That's an average of 1.55 million on the cap per year.
Okay.
So that's $3.6 million savings this year. So there's Joshua
Yeah.
just from the savings of dropping him. It's 2.6 million the following year. And then in years 3 and 4 of the buyout, it's only 1.55 million per year. That is an absolute no-brainer, must do.
Yes.
Because if you try to trade that contract with that shooting percentage and what he's done, then
Not,
you're
we're
giving a
going to get a
first round
bag of
pick we don't
freaking
have up
frozen
to it.
chickens.
So buy him out, and if Aquilini, who he wants to win and he says he wants to win, and they showed it by buying out Ekman Larson last year, which gave
Yes.
us the ability to get the guys we brought in, the
True.
Blugers, we had the money to get Zadorov, all that kind of stuff. So I think they do it, and now we get that little bit of buffer to sign the guys that we need. Because I tell you right now, at a total cost of $6 million to the owner, and to be able to keep a guy like Joshua just one
Well
for one,
worth it.
you have to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, I know they like Mikheyev. He's got speed, but he doesn't hit, and he sure doesn't score. And at 0.009% shooting, I just don't know if you can call that bad luck. I think he's cursed.
I think so. I don't know what happened. I can't explain it. It's bizarre to me. Absolutely bizarre. I'm trying to figure what's going on with my lighting, but holy crap. Everything went haywire in my lighting. Anyway, dude, that was a quick freaking hour.
Well, yeah.
Are you going to come back next week? Did we book you in for next week?
Yeah, I'd be happy to come back.
Because we have lots more we could talk about. We could go on for another hour.
Yeah.
Let's do it next week.
Right on. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for this.
Excellent.
It was fun.
Everybody else.
And we come back to the question, of the Canucks here, and you got to tip your hat. Proud of them this year. What I got to do. My kids, I've got a almost 12-year-old, almost 6, and a 3-year-old little guy. And my daughter, and she's 5 right now, and my son 3. They got to see what meant to me, and seeing them
Should we
cheer
tell them
and
their name?
the memories we
how
created. Yeah, pretty special.
when I say super fan, folks, I mean super fan. What are your kids' names?
Carrie, and she's named after Carey Price. We didn't know if she was going to be a girl or a boy, so when she was born, we had a Carey Price jersey and a Trevor Linden jersey, because if she was a boy, her name was going to be Lyndon Henry Daniel.
Nice.
Yeah, and my son's name it's Robert Marcus, for Roberto Luongo and Marcus Naslin, but we call him Bo Jackson. Yeah.
And
Ryder, right? Yeah, my older boy,
and Ryder.
Yeah, but I didn't get
And
it.
Ryder was just going to throw it in there.
Ryder was not. I didn't have the pull to be able to. He would have been Lyndon.
Different marriage.
Yes, wasn't a marriage, but yes. Anyways.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Cool, dude. Till next week, folks.
Absolutely.
Thanks for tuning in. I finally, after 69 effing episodes, I have been bugging my son to let me say goodbye just once. All I wanted was one time to where I could say the goodbyes, and he cuts me off every time. So, until next week,